The Great Pyramid is aligned to true north within a 20th of a degree. They get it without a compass because compasses did not exist. That is a more accurate alignment than most buildings put up in the last century on a structure finished around 4,500 years ago. And true north is not the same as magnetic north, so a compass would not have got them there anyway. It is worse than useless. True north is where the planet's axis of rotation meets the surface. To find it, you need the sky, and you need to understand what it is doing. This video is about 4 problems they had to solve, and the tools they solved them with, which were rope, water, stone, and the sky. Everybody knows this building. Almost nobody knows how the people who built it worked out which way north was. And the answer is not lost. It is not mysterious. We can reconstruct almost all of it, and the reconstruction is better than the mystery. None of those tools is advanced. All of them are precise if you are patient enough, and patience is the thing this building is actually made of. So start with the hardest one. Before you can align a building to the sky, you have to make the ground underneath it perfectly flat. The base of the Great Pyramid covers about 5 hectares, and it is leveled to within a couple of centimeters across the entire thing, 2 centimeters over 230 meters. That is a tolerance most construction sites would be pleased with using laser equipment today, and it matters enormously because everything above it inherits the error. A base that slopes produces a pyramid that leans, and the lean compounds upward. So the ground has to be flat first, not approximately flat. Flat to a standard you can build 4.5 million tons on top of. The problem is that you cannot see level. Your eye is unreliable across any distance. The desert surface is uneven, and there is no instrument to check it with. But there is one thing that finds level on its own, without being told, every single time. And it was available in enormous quantity from the Nile. Water. A liquid surface at rest is level, because gravity makes it so. It is not an approximation, it is a physical property of the substance. The proposed method is a grid of shallow channels cut into the bedrock, filled with water, and the water level marked on the sides of each channel. Drain the water, cut the rock down to the marks, and you have a surface leveled by gravity rather than by anybody's judgment or eyesight. To find true north without a compass, you have to watch the sky rotate, and you have to do it carefully enough to find the center of the rotation. The stars appear to circle a single fixed point because the planet is turning underneath them. That point is directly above the North Pole. Find the center of that circle, and you have found true north precisely using nothing but a clear night and something to sight along. There was a complication. There was no useful pole star then. The axis wobbles over thousands of years, and the star we use now was not in position, so they could not simply point at a star. They had to find the center of a rotation with nothing sitting at its middle to aim at. Several methods have been proposed, and they all work. The most widely discussed involves watching 2 stars either side of the pole and marking the moment they align vertically. At that instant, a plumb line dropped between them points at true north. Wait for it, mark the ground, and you have your bearing. Another proposed method uses the sun and a vertical stick, marking where the shadow tip falls through the day and bisecting the result. Both are simple. Both are accurate if you are careful. And the accuracy of that building suggests they were extremely careful indeed. We have the logbook of a man who delivered stone to this building site, written by him in his own hand, while the work was going on. It was found in 2013 at a harbor site on the Red Sea coast in a cave that had been sealed for 4,500 years. It is the oldest inscribed papyrus anybody has ever found, and its subject is not religion or kingship, it is logistics, boat movements and cargo. The man's name was Merer. He was an official, he ran a team of about 40 men, and he moved limestone by boat to the Giza Plateau. His log records the round trips: load at the quarry across the river, sail to Giza, unload, return. Several journeys, dated in sequence, which turns this building from a mystery into a delivery schedule. And I find that considerably more impressive than any of the alternatives. The casing stone came from Tura across the river. The granite for the inner chambers came from Aswan, roughly 800 kilometers upstream. Moving granite blocks weighing tens of tons that distance by river on a schedule is an organizational achievement rather than a technological one. And the people doing it were not slaves. There is a workers' settlement beside the plateau, with bakeries, breweries, and enough cattle bone to feed thousands. The Egyptians who built this had copper tools, not bronze, not iron, not steel. Copper, which is softer than the limestone they were cutting, which sounds impossible until you understand that the copper is not doing the cutting. The abrasive is doing the cutting, and the copper carries it. Sand contains quartz. Quartz is harder than limestone and harder than granite, and a copper blade dragged through wet sand cuts both of them. The blade wears away rather than the sand. So you are consuming copper to move abrasive slowly in a straight line for as long as it takes. For the harder granite, they also used stone. Dolerite pounders, harder than granite, used to bruise the surface away rather than cut it. And the joints between the finished blocks are in places close to a hair's width. That is what the tools were capable of with enough time. Which is the point I keep coming back to. None of this is advanced technology. All of it is ordinary technology applied with extraordinary patience. 20 years, on the standard estimate, tens of thousands of people working in rotation on one building for a working lifetime. Which raises the question nobody asks about this building, and it is a better question than how. Why did the precision matter to them at all? A pyramid does not need to be aligned to true north to stand up. You could build it facing any direction at all, and it would be just as stable. The base does not need to be level to 2 centimeters either. 10 would have held. 100 would probably have held. So the precision is not structural. It is not engineering necessity. Somebody decided it had to be exact, and the decision cost enormous amounts of labor. The likely reason is that this was a religious building, and the alignment was pointing at something, the northern sky and the stars that never set. Those stars were associated with permanence, because they are the only ones that never disappear. Everything else in that sky rises and sets and dies. So the building was aimed at the part of the sky that does not change, by people who wanted a king to become part of it, which means the accuracy was theological rather than practical, and it was achieved with a bowl of water, a length of rope, and a clear night. Nothing about the building required that. It would have stood facing any direction at all. The precision was for something nobody could measure. 20 years of work to aim a mountain at the part of the sky that never changes, for a man they believed was going there.